We're about to uncover the real game changers between pressure group and social movements, from the electrifying streets of Paris to the influential corridors of the US Capitol. These forces are rewriting the rules of power. What drives these movements? How do they turn the tide on public policy and shape our culture? What can we learn from the successes and struggles? Now, prepare to dive into the heart of political change and see how these movements impact not just on nations, but your everyday life. Join us while we peel back the layers and reveal the strategies, stories, and shared determination behind the pressure group and social movements in France and the United States. This is not just a history, it's a living, breathing fight for the future. We will reveal the unseen and understand the power behind the protests. So now, let's begin with pressure groups. Think of organized teams working behind the scenes to push for change, and the tools are lobbying and advocacies. Picture trade unions, business lobbies, for instance. This guy knows how to play the political game from the inside. How about social movements? Imagine a massive wave of people, passionate, driven, and fighting for a bigger cause. Think about civil rights movements, environmental campaigns. These are the grassroots barriers. Here's a twist. These two forces can merge. A fiery social movement can spark a powerful pressure groups. Let's talk about Greenpeace, for instance. It started as a social movement and grew into a major pressure groups. They fight for similar goals but use different methods. Think of it like a superhero teams. Pressure groups are the strategists, while social movements are the passionate fighters. So, whether it's a carefully planned lobby or a spontaneous protest, these groups are the driving force behind change, and together they are unstoppable. Let's journey back in time and witness its forces in action. In France, the CGT, or the General Confederation of Labour, a powerful house union, has been championing workers' rights for over a century. But the real seismic events? The May 1968 protests, students and workers united, rocking the very foundation of French society. It wasn't just about politics, but it was also a cultural revolution. The CGT, with its militant tactics and socialist learning, has long been a thorn in the side of French government. The mass rallies and strikes have forced political leaders to reckon with the demands of the working class. And the reverberations of May 1968 can still be felt today, as France grapple with the ongoing tension between its social model and the pressure of neoliberalism. But French story isn't just about pressure groups. Social movements have also left an indelible mark on the country's political landscape. The anti-globalization movement, for instance, found a fervent following in France, with activists like Joseph Bowie leading high-profile campaigns against corporate powers.
They don't want to change anything. So we know clearly that if we don't keep the oil inside of the earth and we still use it, we're not going to be able to change. That's why we say clearly that it's not the climate that we have to change, it's the system.
These movements didn't just make noise, they reshaped societies and inspired generations. In France, the aftermath of May 1968 brought about significant educational and social reforms, challenging traditional norms and paving the way for a more progressive society. Across the Atlantic, the United States has a down story to tell. The NOA, or the National Reform Association, a powerful pressure group in the United States, has been a major player in gun control debates. But also don't forget about the civil rights movements. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. led millions in the fight for equality, forever changing the course of American history. Here's a secret. This movement wasn't just a single force, it was a coalition of diverse groups, each with unique strategies. From peaceful marches to legal battles, they challenged the status quo head-on. The civil rights movement encompassed a wide array of organizations, each with their own approaches. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC, engaged in sit-ins and voter registration drive. The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, or SCLC, led by King, focused on mass mobilization and nonviolent direct action. Meanwhile, the Black Panther Party took a more confrontational stance, advocating for self-defense and revolutionary change. The legacy of the civil rights movement continued to inspire new generation of activists, as evident by the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement in recent years. This new wave of protest has built upon the foundation laid by their predecessor, adopting the strategy to address the evolving challenge of the 21st century. Just as the pressure groups and social movements of France have shaped the country's political landscape, their American counterparts have left an indelible mark on the United States. These forces continue to clash and collaborate, pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the ongoing struggle for social and economic justice. Let's peek behind the curtains and see how pressure groups operate. Lobbying is the weapon of choice, convincing lawmakers to support the causes. They might present research, offer campaign contributions, or simply build relationships with key decision makers. Social movements, on the other hand, don't have frenzy of resist. Their strength lies in numbers. They use grassroots organizing to mobilize the public, raising awareness and building a groundwork of support. You may have heard that the Yellow Vest movement in France was solely about gas prices, but that's not the full story. While the initial protests were sparked by the fuel tax increases, the movement quickly evolved into a broader demonstration against economic inequality, high living costs, and President Macron's policies. It became a symbol of grassroots frustration with the government and the demand for a change. Across the Atlantic, the United States presents a fascinating case study in the interplay between pressure groups and social movements. In this political landscape, few organizations wield as much clout as the National Reform Association, or the NOA. As a well-funded and deeply entrenched lobbying force, the NOA has mastered the art of influencing lawmakers through a potent combination of campaign contributions, media campaigns, and the relentless advocacy. The NOA ability to sway policy decisions on gun rights has long been the stuff of legends. By cultivating close relationships with politicians and pouring millions into electoral races, they managed to block even modest gun control measures, solidifying their status as the formidable presence on Capitol Hill. But the story doesn't end there, as the NOA has flagged its marshal. A new generation of activists has emerged, determined to challenge the status quo. The Black Lives Matter movement, sparked by a wave of police brutality against the African American community, has harnessed the power of social media to rally supporters, organize mass protests, and demand transformative change. Unlike the NRA backroom machinations, the Black Lives Matter movement has tried a grassroots mobilization, leveraging the viral nature of digital platforms to amplify its message and galvanize a nationwide reckoning with systemic racism. The movement impact has been felt far beyond the streets, as lawmakers have been forced to confront the urgency of police reform and racial justice. In the high-stake arena of American politics, pressure groups and social movements have emerged as powerful counterpoints, each employing their unique strength to shape the course of the nations. As the tug-of-war continues, the stake could not be higher, with the future of American democracy hanging in the balance. Now that we have seen how these forces wield their influence, let's dive into the real-world impacts they had. The impact of these forces is undeniable. Let's explore the ripple effect delving into the way pressure groups and social movements have reshaped the world around us. In France, labor unions like the CGT have long been a formidable presence, leveraging the collective power to secure significant worker protections, such as the landmark 35-hour workweeks. This hard-won victory was the culmination of decades of strikes, protests, and internal negotiations between unions and policymakers. Don't keep in mind that these changes would happen overnight. Progress in the political arena is often a slow and arduous process, marked by setbacks, compromises, and the shared determination of those who refuse to back down. The influence of pressure groups like the NRA has been equally profound, though more controversial. Through their relentless lobbying efforts and their procreated political donations, the NRA has succeeded in enshrining strong gun ownership right into American law, even in the wake of the devastating mass shootings that have shaken the nations. But the story doesn't end there. Grassroots movements like the one sparked by the tragic loss of life have also met their mark, mobilizing survivors and allied to demand sweeping change to gun laws. While progress has been incremental, the sustained pressure from this social movement has kept the issue of gun violence at the forefront of the national conversations. The ripple efforts of this social movement and pressure groups have been truly transformative, reshaping not only public policy but the very fabric of our society. From the hollow halls of government to the grassroots of our community, we witness the power of collective action to challenge entrenched systems, amplify marginalized voices, and inspire lasting change. Whether the fight for racial justice, the struggle for LGBTQ+ equality, or the crusade to protect our planet, this movement have galvanized people from all walks of life to stand up, speak out, and demand a better future.
Maybe years of struggle with family, with friends, and with the whole society situation, we came to a place where we think we're comfortable with our identities. So we just want to show our presence here so more people can see us being who we are and be proud of who we are.
The personal story of these changemakers are nothing short of inspiring. They remind us that each of us has the power to make a difference, to be the catalyst for the transformations we wish to see in the world. And the results speak for themselves. From landmark legislation to groundbreaking cultural shifts, the ripple effort of this movement have forever altered the course of history, leaving an indelible mark on our society. At the heart of the stories lie the undeniable truth that grassroots action and strategic advocacy can spark meaningful change, one person, one community, and one policy at a time. As we explore these ripple efforts, we begin to understand the true power of the people and how they can reshape the world around them. By understanding the powers of collective action and the resilience of human spirit, we can all play a part in shaping the future we want to see. Both pressure groups and social movements face unique challenges and opportunities as they navigate the complex landscape of affecting change. However, this top-down approach can also be slow and bureaucratic, presenting its own set of challenges. But sustaining the momentum of these grassroots movements and translating them into tangible policy changes can be a daunting task, as pressure groups often struggle with internal divisions and competing priorities. This division can dilute their message and weaken their negotiating power. Now, let's shift our focus to the US, where the landscape is equally complex but different in many ways. The landscape looks quite different. In the United States, pressure groups like the NOA have wielded immense influence through relentless lobbying efforts and deep-pocketed political donations, enshrining strong gun ownership right into American laws. However, this influence comes at a cost. The intense partisanship in American politics can make it difficult for pressure groups to build broad coalitions. They often face fierce opposition from equally powerful countergroups. Social movements in the US, such as the Black Lives Matter movement, harness the power of social media to organize, raise awareness, and drive change. This movement can quickly mobilize large numbers of people and create widespread impact. Here's a fascinating fact. The Black Lives Matter hashtag, a powerful rallying cry for justice and equality, was created by three determined women, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Apal Tometi. Their leadership has been pivotal in transforming a hashtag into a global movement. But social movements in the US also face significant challenges. Sustaining momentum over the long term can be difficult, especially as media attention shift and initial enthusiasm wane. Moreover, achieving tangible policy changes often require navigating a fragmented political system with numerous checks and balances. As we delve into the complexity of pressure groups and social movements, it's evident that the influence extends far beyond policy. Looking to the future, the landscape of political engagement is evolving rapidly. In France, pressure groups are facing a critical moment where embracing digital tools and forming broader coalitions will be essential for staying relevant and impactful. Social movements, too, must innovate to sustain momentum and amplify their voices in an increasingly digital world. In the US, pressure groups are confronted with the urgent need for campaigns framing reform to level the playing field and ensure that all voices are heard. Social movements must continue to translate online support into tangible real-world action and forge alliances that extend their influence beyond the streets and into policy-making circles. Collaboration between pressure groups and social movements could be a game changer. Imagine a world where they combine expertise and influence, create a more inclusive and responsive political system, a world where everyone has a voice and the power to make a difference. Pressure groups and social movements are the lifeblood of any democracy. They challenge the status quo, push for progress, and empower individuals. They are the reason we can dream of a better future. So the question is, will you be a part of the change? Thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of pressure groups and social movements. We hope you're feeling empowered and inspired.